So good morning, good afternoon, bonjour, buenos dias, bon dia. We are all together here to discover our new partner, Remot Travel, Faroe Island DMC, and I'm here with one of the co-founder. This is Rasmus. So Rasmus, can you take us around, show us what to do, what to see? It's exciting.
Yes, of course. Thank you everyone for wanting to participate in this. It's amazing to see this many participants, and also thank you to you, Dominic, for the opportunity. Yes, so today I want to tell you a little bit more about Faroe Islands, and for many of you, Faroe Islands might be a complete mystery or a complete hidden, unexplored travel destination. And for many of you, it's perhaps the first time you're ever really hearing about it. So I'm really excited to tell you more about it. And I will also, of course, tell you a little bit about my company, which is Remot Travel. And my name is Rasmus Rosdal. I'm a co-founder of Remot Travel, and I am born and raised in the Faroe Islands. And we don't have so much time. As I said earlier, I can usually talk for hours or even days about the Faroe Islands, but I'll really try my best here to keep it within our scheduled time there. So the first thing here you can see in the background of the Faroe Islands is some beautiful sea stack, beautiful nature. And I think usually the images you see about the Faroe Islands, they speak for themselves and tell you about what to expect in the Faroe Islands. And it's usually the beautiful nature that draws people wanting to come and explore the Faroe Islands. And perhaps we should first figure out where the Faroe Islands are. Here we have a picture of most of Europe, and you can see um, the Americas here as well. And the Faroe Islands, they are situated in the middle of the ocean. And even though if you have had a globe next to your bedside table growing up, it can be actually easy to, even though not know where the Faroe Islands are because they are so small. And we are here in between Iceland, Scotland, and Norway, and are part of the Nordic countries here in Europe. So the question is, how do you get to the Faroe Islands? Well, luckily today it's easier than ever to get to the Faroe Islands. I have listed here all our direct flights, but usually when you are traveling from the Americas, then in many cases, Iceland is now actually the best connection. And that's because in recent years, Iceland has become more and more popular, particularly among American travelers. And they are now have direct flights to many major American international airlines and cities. And there are also daily flights from Iceland to the Faroe Islands, and it only takes 1 hour to do that flight. So layover and travel time is relatively easy. And actually, you can, if you're traveling from America, then you can actually get to the Faroe Islands more easily than many other European countries. But for everyone who is not traveling, maybe from America, maybe from Mexico or Brazil or somewhere in Europe, maybe, then in many cases, Copenhagen is the best connection. Faroe Islands is still part of the Danish kingdom, so we have really strong ties to Denmark, and it's only a 2 hour direct flight from Copenhagen, and there are multiple daily flights. If you maybe are, I know for instance in Mexico, there are direct flights to both London, Paris, and Barcelona, and you can also see here that those they also have direct flights to the Faroe Islands. So there are quite a few possibilities. And yeah, what are the Faroe Islands? Well, the Faroe Islands are an archipelago, so a group of islands, and it is situated in a quite cold climate. And we have in total of 18 islands, where 17 of them they are inhabited. And most of them are connected with well-paved roads, tunnels, and bridges. But some of the smaller remote islands are accessible by boat or helicopter. So what you can see here on the map of the Faroe Islands, you see the red dot, that is Tórshavn, which is our capital. And you might also maybe spot there's a small airplane icon, and that's on the island of Vakar. And they're on two separate islands, but luckily you can very easily get from the airport to the capital through subsea tunnels. Faroe Islands is very much known for some of the world's most dramatic terrain. It's a very mountainous landscape, which really creates some breathtaking fjords with scenic hikes for travelers. And we now see it also as a unique destination that is starting to emerge more and more as travel one of the more known travel destination in the Nordics. And we have really seen that the Faroese tourism industry has been under really continuous development in the recent years, and particularly in the culinary and service industries. Um, to give you an example of our tunnels, we have here one of our most famous one, and this is also the world's first subsea tunnels with a roundabout. And this is something we're very proud of. And I think it tells a lot about also the infrastructure in the Faroe Islands that even though it's a group of islands, you can very easily get around. You don't have to sail every single day if that's not your thing. And to tell you a little bit about the size and how to get around the Faroe Islands, well, the longest possible road is 2 hours long, and that really is from getting from one edge all the way up to the other one, and that's all due to tunnels. Of course, for the smaller islands, you have the possibility to go on boats such as this one, going on a beautiful zodiac tour. The Faroe Islands and the weather, well, that's where it gets really interesting because it is a Nordic country. So the average temperature in the Faroe Islands is 13 Celsius, which is considered cold in many places. We will call it probably cool or fresh instead. And what is really significant is that during winter, the temperature is actually not that different. It's only 10 degrees Celsius difference. So actually, Faroe Islands are warmer than most other European countries during winter, at least on average. But the main difference between summer and winter in the Faroe Islands is not necessarily the temperature, it's more the amount of daylight. So in the summer, you can expect really long, bright days, while during the winter, well, you can have very short day, as short as only 5 hours. And the reason the temperature is so stable in France is because the Mexican Gulf goes through the islands. And that also makes our water temperature the same temperature all year round, which is about 5 to 6 degrees. So it's very cold all year round. We usually say we have maybe one beach day a year where it's really, really, hot, 20 degrees. And that's where everyone goes out to the beach. But all the other days of the year, that's you just go dipping in the ocean, and that's enough for plenty. But this weather, that means that it can be cold, but it can also be very unpredictable. And to get the best experience in the Faroe Islands, we really encourage everyone to get properly dressed. And we have a saying here in the Nordics, which is there's nothing called bad weather, there's only bad clothing. And that's something we think is very, very important. But also, because the weather is so unpredictable, the way to have the best experience in the Faroe Islands is to stay open-minded and be open to flexibility, because we also call the Faroe Islands the land of maybe. And that's because maybe we will do our plan A, and maybe, we will not be able to do that picnic outdoors that we otherwise had planned. So we say the whole charm and idea and experience of traveling to the Faroe Islands is really to be open-minded and let our guides make the most out of each day. And that's how I think something that people are maybe not really used to, but something they really, really appreciate after they left, because it was really nice to have that openness and have that flexibility. A little bit practical things about the Faroe Islands. Well, it has a very small population of 55,000 people. So it is basically the size as a small town in many countries. And as you can imagine, small towns, well, people know each other in small towns. And you can say it's the same in the Faroe Islands. Everyone knows everyone, more or less. And the first question, if you meet another Faroese person, then it is you say, who owns you? And that means like, who are your parents? Because that's often how you probably know them, and then you can like put them in the picture, oh, where they're from and who they are and so on. We have the same time zone as London time, And in the Faroe Islands, everyone speaks three languages. We speak fluent Faroese, which is our own native language, and then we also are forced to learn Danish in school, so we also speak that. And then we also speak, all of us, English. So I would say it's quite easy for travelers to come to the Faroe Islands because they can, yeah, well, if you speak English, then you can basically communicate with everyone, even the local farmer who lives in the village behind Dominic. He also speaks English. Our local currency is Faroese kroners, but uh, it is the exact same value as Danish kroner. So I want to just emphasize on that. But when you come traveling to the Faroe Islands, you don't need to bring cash. You don't need to worry about the currencies. Just bring your a credit card because nowadays it's almost completely cashless, and you can easily pay with credit cards everywhere where you go. Here we have some beautiful pictures of the Faroe Islands to give you an idea what it looks like. This here is Mykines Island. It's also known as the Puffin Island. It has a population of 10 people, but yeah, a puffin population of 250,000 during the summer. And here we also have one of our very big, popular nature highlights, which is called the lake above the ocean. And as you can see, it seems like the lake is hovering above the ocean here. And that's very quickly about the Faroe Islands, uh, where it is, how to get there, and how the weather is, and so on. I want to also take some time to talk to you about remote travel, who we are, and what we do. And first of all, I can maybe tell a little bit who I am and how we started remote travel. As I said, I'm a co-founder, and I started remote travel together with a good friend and partner of mine, Bjarni, who's among the spectators here today. And both of us, we grew up working in the travel or the hospitality industry in the Faroe Islands, working particularly with hotels and restaurants. And we both started at an early age, at 13, 14 years old. And I will kind of say that being in that industry and working on different positions, both in the kitchen and as a waiter and so on, you get to meet a lot of travelers, and you get interested in understanding why people are visiting the Faroe Islands. And in other words, I'll say we have grown up in the Faroese industry, and we have seen how it has been developing. And that really motivated us to want to start our own travel company, where we really take focus on how the travel industry is developing in the Faroe Islands, and where we can have focus on, be careful with the nature, take good care of it, be careful not having mass tourism, and really focus on having quality over quantity. And nothing who focused on that existed in the Faroe Islands. So that's why we came in and created the first bespoke DMC in the Faroe Islands. And we are a small company. We have 3 employees. We're all locals. And so we often describe ourselves as a boutique DMC. And what we do is that we our goal is to create a sustainable escape arrangements for travelers who really wish to experience soulful and enchanting experiences that you cannot find everywhere in the world today. And what we like to do as well on a local perspective is that we like to involve local people who live in small villages to become guides, chefs, fishermen, and farmers to provide travelers with really truly immersive experiences. And then also what we do is that we constantly innovate and brainstorm new ways on how we can to deliver new exclusive experiences to our curious visitors. And the way we do this is that, as I said, France is very small, so we have formed really close relationships and partnerships with all the locals, and many of them we know personally. One of our chefs is my cousin, and the helicopter pilot. Well, he's my parents' neighbor back in the neighborhood I'm from. So we are that closely connected. Um, and yes, I will say some of our specialties. What we do is first of all doing FIT travels. That is what we started with doing. But then with experience and also with having good relationships with travel advisors, we have I will say naturally evolved to doing other types of travels as well, such as doing exclusive group tours And then we also have done some nice corporate retreats. We do incentive travels and meetings. For instance, we had part of the Red Bull executive board on a very interesting, adventurous journey to the Faroe Islands. And then we also were part of helping Issey Miyake to launch their new perfume here in the Faroe Islands as well. And I would say what we specialize is, in other words, is Faroese luxury. And we are very careful with how we use the word luxury because luxury has different meanings in different places in the world. Um, Perhaps in Dubai, luxury might mean a grand five-star suite with golden sink or whatever. But in the Faroe Islands, luxury means not materialistic stuff, but it's about the experiences. So normally we say we don't have five-star hotels in the Faroe Islands, but we have five-star unique experiences. So that's the Faroese luxury we focus on. But, but we build our journeys on three pillars. They are the accommodations, expert guides, and local experiences. And accommodations, uh, they are two different groups. They are either the best local four-star hotels in the Faroe Islands or boutique hotels, or they are what we call unique accommodations. And these are cottages, such as you can see in the pictures, and they are situated usually outside of the bigger villages, more closer to nature. Another thing we focus on are our expert guides, and we are big believers that a guide plays a huge role on your journey. It can really make the difference between, make a good journey become amazing. And we have been very, very extremely careful on which guides we want to work with, and we have really handpicked what we believe are the very, very best. And our guides, they are focused on telling good stories about the Faroe Islands, to read people and to really be able to work with the flexible environment that we have. And not necessarily someone who knows the name of every flower or every mountain. So for us, the other thing is a bit more important. And then we center all of our experiences, around the locals, so local experiences. That's usually the three pillars that builds our journeys. Yeah, talk about the hotels. We have some nice boutique hotels, no five-star hotels, at least not yet. And it's not really necessary with five-star hotels in the Faroe Islands. Usually, our people they spend most of the days out traveling and so on, so they might not even see the hotel that much. And with the ones we offer, they have a really nice personal touch, and our travelers really love them. And as I said, alternatively, you can also stay in one of our unique accommodations. We have exclusive access to some villas, renovated boathouses, and cottages. And these are very popular actually because I think maybe a hotel room might not impress you in the Faroe Islands, like a hotel room might somewhere else. But staying in a very unique accommodation where you have all the nature surrounding you, that's really something that can give a wow effect. In terms of our transportations, we try to use the very best vehicles in the Faroe Islands. So we do actually have some nice luxury brands. So the quality is very, very good. We when we visited some of the more smaller islands that we cannot drive to, then the options are either to go sailing. We have different types of boat. We have a bit more luxurious boats that you can see in the pictures, and then we also have zodiacs that are a bit more adventurous and a bit quicker. But we also can take the helicopter. And fun fact about the helicopter in France is actually part of the public transport. Yes, so people who live in the smaller islands, they can actually say that they take the helicopter to go grocery shopping because it's part of the public transfer. And during winter, it's the only way you can actually get to the island. And you buy it just as you will buy a bus ticket. And tickets are very cheap because we pay the service in taxes to keep the tickets very, very cheap. And as you can see, the helicopter, they are sturdy, big, and they are managed by two pilots. They're also used for rescue missions because in the harsh conditions in the north, you really need big, sturdy helicopters. So when it comes to safety, these are top notch and cannot be made out of any better material. One thing that I also want to get a little bit more into is the culinary experience in the Faroe Islands. Because as you can see with my background presentation, and when you Google the Faroe Islands, there come all of these beautiful pictures. So it's usually the nature that draws, I guess, the primary attention. But I would say the big second activity here that also draws a lot of people is the unique culinary scene. And there are also different varieties of how you can do this. Because, first of all, we have the world's most remote Michelin star restaurant. This is called Pass. It has two Michelin stars. It Just going to this restaurant is really almost a destination in itself. It's been drawing a lot of people, and it's really something that catches the attention of foodies. So if you have clients or travelers that are interested in unique dining experience, you should really consider the Faroe Islands because I hardly think there are many other more unique choices. And besides Pass, we also have two other restaurants that are on the Michelin Guide as well. So the fine dining scene is surprisingly very good here. But if you also would like not necessarily into fine dining, but something more authentic, then we also offer home hospitality dinners. And this is a local concept that's called heimablutna. It literally means home hospitality. And the concept is that you will be welcomed by a local into their living room where you'll be served a traditional Faroese meal. And it can be something easy like local fish cakes, or it can be very more I would say extreme, where you're dining with local farmers and they give you fermented fish and sheep head and so on. So it has different levels. It can be easy and more for the brave eaters. And it's as much as it's a dining experience, it's also I would say a very great cultural experience because you get to connect with some people, you get honest conversations, and often the Faroese people are very curious also to meet travelers. It's not something that has always been a normal thing here. It's something relatively new. So many of us locals are also very very curious, and most people they actually say that yes, the nature was great and activities were fun and food was good and so on. But really, what left a mark on me when I left the Faroe Islands was the people because that was really an experience that they could not foreseen. How that would have an impact. So I would say meeting Faroese people is usually also an activity or an experience in itself, if you can put it like that. But we are creative and we like to challenge ourselves and do new things. So we also actually do a ton of exclusive dining experiences. This could be with a local private fire chef, or maybe a seafood provider or something like that. Um, and actually, a good combination is staying in one of our local villas out in nature, and then we have a local chef coming by in the evening and preparing a nice meal for you. And I also want to briefly maybe go through some experiences as I already have spent some time talking. So I'll try to do this
Go ahead.
quick, more quickly so you get
No,
an idea.
very interesting. It's very interesting. Go ahead, huh?
And then later you will have the material as well from Dominic to go in details with them. But first of all, hiking is a huge experience here. There's hiking in all levels, and you can really go hiking everywhere. I know there are many beautiful countries and places you could go hiking. For instance, if we take Iceland, Iceland's amazing. I've been there many times myself, but often you have to drive around quite a bit, and it can be a longer journey. And I kid you not, in the Faroe Islands, if you want to have a beautiful view or find a hiking trail, you just have to turn around. It is mountainous and pretty everywhere. Um, Horseback riding, it can both be on Faroese ponies or on Icelandic horses. We also have a focus on mindfulness, such as yoga and doing breathing therapy up in the mountains, in the fresh air. It can be a bit adventurous, doing mountain biking. We also have e-biking, if that's also very comfortable, particularly if it's a bit windy. You can go diving, snorkeling, and you can go dipping in the cold Atlantic Ocean. Usually, it's a good combination together with going in a sauna or a wilderness bath afterwards. That's at least what I typically like to do. I know my colleague Bjarni, he likes just go dipping and then no sauna afterwards, but not for me. Um, we do a ton of different types of boat trips, and really seeing the Faroe Islands from from the ocean is a perspective you also need to have when you're visiting. And as you can see here, we have a lot of different of towering sea cliffs. And also a little fun fact about the Faroe Islands: we're actually home to one of the world's, definitely Europe's, biggest promontory. So it's like a sea cliff that has a straight fall down to the ocean, which is over 700 meters. Kayaking, either in lakes or on the ocean, rappelling, or something more cultural, having a home concert. This is something we also do quite a bit because in the Faroe Islands, about 50% of all the people they play at least one instrument. So we are music is quite a big part of our culture as well. And in all events, um, like formal gatherings and so on, there's a lot of singing, a lot of and dancing, and so it's something that plays a big role in our culture. Also witnessing the Nordic skies, you can also see the aurora borealis, Nordic lights in the Faroe Islands. However, only during winter. So that's one of the highlights you can do during winter time. Meet the locals. This here is Johannes. He's one of the farmers we work very closely with. He is the farmer of Kalsoy Island or Tröllanes. This island where they filmed the newest James Bond movie, and they actually made his farm to be to be the villain secret lair. So they made that, and he helped a lot with the movie and so on. And he was actually officially credited in the credit scene after the movies where he says his name, and then his role was King of Kalsoy. So that's a bit funny. Um, Fishing is a big thing here also in the Faroe Islands, both ocean fishing, but also on lakes. And the seafood here is really, really good. We typically often do like catch your own fish dining experience as well. I didn't mention that earlier, but that's something that's quite popular here. It works really well. And yes, visiting some of the old houses, the old towns, because people have lived in the Faroe Islands for such a long time. And actually, the oldest house where people still live exists in the Faroe Islands. And it has been and is still lived by the same family that's been living there for now, I believe, 19 centuries. So, and it looks just like one of these ones. And then, yeah, finally, here, one of our big, I would say, highlight experiences that is grotto concertos, and this is mixes both with having try getting an inside taste of Faroese music, but also the nature, where we will go sailing into one of our glorious sea caves, and then we have a concert there. What makes that really unique is that the echo and atmosphere within a sea cave is magical. Is The sounds are extremely beautiful and unique. So those were a little bit of the experiences. Of course, you'll be able to go on our page on Dominic's side to get in more detail of all the experiences and also sample itineraries that you can do. However, just to give you a very quickly idea of what the cost to go to the Faroe Islands, because many have the idea it's very expensive. I just wanted to give you a quick, easy price overview that I have made for travel advisors such as yourself, so you get a quick idea of the prices, and they're just listed on how many people and how many days, and this includes all the essentials. It includes great accommodation, daily breakfast, lunch, and then private airport transport, and then perhaps the most important thing, your own local guide and driver throughout your journey. So you'll be in good hands throughout the entire trip. And this price, yeah, commission includes a 15% commission, but we are very flexible when it comes to prices. We can do net rates, or we can do however you want it, really. And this is also seen as a starting price. So for this budget, you can get quite a lot. My very last slide here, and then I won't take more of your time. I just want to debunk a few myths about the Faroe Islands because the many believe, yeah, the Faroe Islands, they are hard to reach. Well, that's not really true. We talked about that earlier. It has many great connections, particularly through Iceland, which is really nice, and Copenhagen. So they are easier to reach than actually most or many other European countries. And the islands are only for extreme hikers. This is also not really true because even though you can do extreme hiking here, you can reach so many beautiful sites and places easily by car, and getting around is so easy. And we have so many different cultural and dining experiences and so on that you can have an amazing time here, even though if you don't go for one single hike. And then the islands lack modern facilities. Many can imagine that Faroe Islands is middle of nowhere, so they must, be very far behind with technology and so on. But promise you, that's not the truth. We are very up to date with everything, and you can even see with our tunnels that our infrastructure is actually top notch. And then the Faroe Islands are extremely expensive, and that's why it is true that the Nordic countries might be on the more expensive side than many other places in the world. But I would very hardly argue that the Faroe Islands are not they're not more expensive than, let's say, the other Nordic or Scandinavian countries. And you could also see that on the price overview that I showed you. Great. So that was a little bit about the Faroe Islands, about remote travel, and who we are and what we do. Of course, I'm happy to, if we have time for it. I mean, you're in charge here to tell me to answer some of your questions. But if not, then I'm also more than happy to jump and schedule a more personalized video call where we can also go through those together at another time.
Thank you very much, Rasmus. I think everyone would agree that was really interesting not to know more about you, but also for most of us to discover the Faroe Island. Huh? So we have a few, alors, not question as well. Céline said bonjour. Cher Dominique, joyeuse Pâques, happy Passover. Hope would love more information on hiking on the island. So this is Hope. But of course, when you're going to do the follow-up, everyone, you can ask again what you need more. Huh? But unless there is something you want to see, but it's something you need to send about the hiking, not to speak, I suppose. Hein, Ramus? Voilà, Bernice,
Yes,
what is the
yeah,
average age?
exactly.
Regarde. Hein, for the
The average age.
you're gonna send some info on the hiking then. Huh?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and I can tell you, regards to hiking, it's there are many very well marked trails, so there are many good, easy options, and
Mm-hmm.
there are a lot of hiking trails here that are extremely rewarding. So, for instance, seeing this background here, well, you can actually get there by doing a 30-minute hike if you combine it with a little bit of sailing. So you really often get to beautiful places very easily. But for the hardcore hiker, we can also do full day hiking activities where you really get to challenge yourself and have a full day experience. So we have the easy and the difficult and everything in between, really.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Bernice, what is the average age for touring the island?
So I would say that we have everything from young couples traveling here all the way to old people as well, and we also have a ton of families traveling with children. And I will say the Faroes are very family friendly as well, as there are many nice uh, fun farming experiences, for instance, that are fun for kids to engage with. So we really have travelers in all ages. I would say most popular, however, is probably people in their 50s up to 60s who are maybe still fresh on some a bit more adventure, but we really see all age groups traveling here.
Diana wants to know how many days do you suggest to visit the Faroe Islands?
Exactly. Good question. In my price overview here, if we just go
Mhm.
back to that, this is actually based on what we normally suggest on your duration in the Faroe Islands. So that will be from 4 to 7 nights. That's usually a good amount of time for your first journey to the Faroe Islands if you really want to see some of the highlights without rushing too much. And if you're staying up to maybe here 8 days or 7 nights, that also gives you some room and time to explore some of the more lesser visited islands and smaller islands that might be a bit more challenging to reach. You can, of course, stay in the Faroe Islands for longer than that, but you need to also remember that the Faroe Islands are much smaller than, let's say, Norway and Iceland and so on. So if you really want to more, experience the highlights, it's not really necessary to stay longer than that. And longer stays are more for people who really want to soak in, the nature of one particular island or one place.
Mhm. Diane is also asking, do the villa have a minimum night stay?
The villas typically have between 2 to 3 nights minimum stay.
Okay,
Yes.
that's all. Voilà. And the average per night per couple, then you can see it on the price, on the review. Um, is another one, is dining food expensive like in Iceland?
Yes, it is perhaps on the more expensive side. And there's a good reason for that. And that's because being in the Faroe Islands, well, then you actually have to import most stuff.
Mhm.
And that really puts prices up, particularly when it comes to food and also particularly alcohol, actually. So you can see a bit more higher prices for particularly for dining experiences. That is correct. But I will say you get extremely good for value as well. It's not like a fine dining experience in the Faroes is necessarily more expensive than in, let's say in Denmark or in Norway or Sweden or Iceland or anything like that. So it's about the same price point, but yes, just like those destinations, the prices are relatively high.
So, honey, you were also asking the minimum nights for a first-time visitor. So from 4 nights, onward. Voilà.
Four nights, maybe 5 nights if you want to see a
Yes, yeah.
little bit more.
Oh,
Um, but the thing is,
minimum
I
four.
also want to say that you can stay and get a taste of the Faroe Islands by staying, for instance, only 3 nights or 4 nights, because we have very good flight connections to our other Nordic countries, and for people who are doing multi who are doing like a combination trip where they might want to see Scotland and Iceland and Norway and the Faroe Islands, then you can easily come to the Faroe Islands, stay 2, 3, 4 nights, and then move on to the next Nordic destination.
Ben, you're saying so fascinated, remarkable how advanced and connected. What is the government? And yes, it does belong to Denmark. Huh?
Yes, very
Yeah.
good question because this can sometimes get a little complicated, but I will try to simplify it. Faroe Islands are part of the Danish kingdom, but it's a sovereign state uh, by itself as well. So that means that we have our
Oh,
own government
uh-huh.
and we can make our own laws and own rules. And for instance, the Faroe Islands are not part of EU or Schengen, which Denmark is. So we can have those separate rules from Denmark being in the Faroe Islands. However, in the Faroe Islands, when you get your passport, you're normally or automatically you get a Danish passport. So on paper, you're also Danish citizens and therefore EU citizens. So it's a
But you
bit,
get
bit
both worlds.
complicated.
You get the
Yeah.
best of both worlds, huh?
Best of both worlds is one way
Voilà,
to
voilà.
put it. Yeah.
Hope you want to know, are you doing shore excursion for clients coming in on a cruise? And what ideally is the best month to travel in the summer? So two questions.
Uh, yeah. So could I get the first question again about the
Are you
cruise?
doing shore excursion for clients coming in on a cruise?
Yes, we do. We do tailor-made cruise excursion as well, and we work with travel advisors who particularly do a lot of cruises. And I know the cruise scene is really getting developing in the Nordics, and we see more cruises also visiting now the Faroe Islands. So we do tailor-made cruise excursions as well for that. We tend to do a little bit more than the standard that you will find on maybe these cruise websites. So we try to really stand out and do something more exclusive and something more unique when it comes to the cruise excursions.
And the second question
And
was the
then
best months in summer, the best month
yes,
to travel.
so if you ask me, just in general, the best time to travel to the Faroe Islands, I will say all time, or like all year round. But for most people who want to spend as much time as possible in the outdoors, they tend to want to go here when it's very bright. And also perhaps they want to see puffins, and that's also season for that. So we see most travelers, they tend to be here from May to August, are usually our high season, busy season. And summer, June, July, August, honestly, they are
That's good.
exactly the same in our eyes. There's no really difference. You might find, if you're very optimistic, you might see that there's 1 degrees an average difference, and stuff like that. But for us, we see it as exactly the same. And sometimes August is really good, and sometimes it's a bit tricky. And the other years, it's the opposite. And so I would not worry too much about that.
You're asking for the visa, Ben. Is there any visa?
Yes, so if you travel from the US and basically all Schengen countries, then there's no visa requirement. If you're traveling from an outside Schengen country, then the visa process is exactly the same as if you would, let's say, visit Denmark.
Mhm.
So you will just need to have a Schengen visa. And I know I said France is not part of Schengen. That's what is a bit tricky in this here.
Yeah,
But to tell you very simply, it's very easy to get. Um,
the
in
visa.
case a visa to France is very easy. It follows the exact same principles as getting a Schengen visa.
Mhm.
Um,
Only you wanted to know remote travel based
yeah.
in Faroe Island. Huh? Hello? All right.
Yes,
Laura,
Faroe Islands is based in the remote travel is based in the Faroe Islands exactly, and we have our office in Tórshavn, which is our capital.
Laura, is the pricing per person or for the whole group? Yes, it's per person for 5 days. Huh? The first price, one person, 5 days, 4 nights, huh? 5,200. Correct,
Yeah, let me
Rasmus?
explain. So, if there's one person for 8 days, this is the price of per person because of one person. But if it's two people, you see the price difference not that. It's just a small increase.
Yes,
So this is
yeah,
for 2 people, this is for 3 people, and for four
yeah,
people.
yeah. All right, so now let's do the other chat. All right. Alors, I was doing all the looking forward to learning more. Oh, sorry, I'm going through from Dallas. Voilà. Bon, next. These are all the hello from the beginning and the uh-huh. Alors, we have Ellison. Hello, Ellison. Hello from Ellison in Little Rock. Rasmus, I tried to do a group with you back in 2024. So excited to learn more. Voilà. Thank you, Ellison.
Thank
Uh,
you.
Tari just booked clients for July on a cruise for 2 days. So maybe if they need some outside help, huh, beside the cruise. Alan, you said thrilled that we visited on a cruise 17 years ago and will return this August again on another cruise. Would love to speak to Rasmus about what we are doing for the day, and we do love it to explore and experience. Perfect. Voilà.
Happy to help.
Pascal, she said, call me when it's a beach day. Uh,
Yeah,
Terry,
I will
tell
definitely
us
not
more.
lose
Tell us
that
more.
opportunity myself.
Alors, Tari would love to chat about shore excursion. Huh? Gorgeous island, she said. Pascal, what is the name of the island, the James Bond movie, for the James Bond movie that you
The
mentioned?
name of the island is Kalsoy Island.
All right.
Uh, I think maybe I can write
You
it.
want to
I can
type
write
it?
it on the chat as well.
Huh?
Huh? Yeah,
Là,
it's
meanwhile,
called Kalsoy
Marie-Helena
Island.
say, wow. Veridiana said, amazing. Corky said, is that per person or for the group? So we're back to the pricing. Huh? So if it's 2 people, 3 people, these are the pricing. And as Rasmus said, when it's two, there is hardly any difference. Huh? Patricia, là, les another plan. Eileen, excellent webinar. Thank you for sharing this beautiful destination. Pam, thank you, looks amazing. Stacy, how many days do you recommend? So we said, four minimum, 4 nights minimum. The favorite time of the Tanya, the favorite time of the year. Rasmus said it's great all year long. There is always something to do to see. But the high season, you said it's August, July, what did you say? May to August. Huh?
Yes.
Voilà.
So, as I said, I think it's always great to come to Faroe Islands, and we can always figure something amazing out for your clients. When you travel to the Faroe Islands during winter or fall, or yeah, even early spring, the good thing of when traveling here is that there are no other travelers. It is really empty, and that in itself is really priceless
Experience.
for
An
some people.
experience. Yeah.
But weather is the brightest and technically the best between about yeah April to September,
Mhm.
and also that's also where you see most birds, and that attracts many
People.
travelers as
Yeah.
well. So that is usually the official best time to visit, if you can put it like that.
Yeah.
But if you want something more unique, uh, and and I can tell you, the nature is just as beautiful, if not more beautiful, during
With,
more stormy and wintry weather. So it depends on what you prefer.
oh, thank you. So, Mariana, muchas gracias. Very interesting. Stacy, do most people do FIT or do you offer small group visit?
Well, we do both. So we I would say mostly for us it's FIT, but we definitely do group tours as well, and so that's a great way to also experience the islands. Often traveling in smaller groups works really well here because it is on small size. Many of the accommodations are smaller, and the vehicles and boats and so on. And so we can definitely help with doing a very nice group tour as well.
Mhm. Ellen, you said, I think the visit to the island for our clients will be for people who enjoy nature, wish to explore a less well-known destination, and to meet and experience the local way of living. I think that's perfect definition, huh? Veridiana,
Exactly.
you said loved it. Pascal said, how is it for people with walker to navigate Faroe Islands?
Um, so with what? Sorry, excuse me.
With walkers, something to help you walk, people who are,
Oh yes,
yeah.
it's actually surprisingly easy because our infrastructure is really good and you can drive to many places. We have some islands that are better for walkers or people with mobility restrictions. That so we have some islands that are better than others, but many of the very beautiful, unique highlights and places you can visit, they are so easy to get to, and you can easily go to many of them by car. The southern island, I can particularly mention here, the southern island, it's called Suðuroy. I can write it down. That is the best island to visit if you have mobility restrictions because they have very good roads, like old farming roads and old roads from the war as well, as there were set radio towers in different mountains and stuff like that. So you can really get to amazing places just by car. So we have the opportunity for that.
Voilà, Darcy, you say thank you, learned quite a bit. Andrea, great webinar, learned so much, thank you. Tanya, thank you. What is the highest hiking mountain option, hiking time and elevation, asked Pascal. The highest hiking mountain, Rasmus?
Highest mountain is Slættaratindur. It is 882 meters
Mm-hmm.
high,
Yeah.
and
And
on
how
a
long?
perfect, how long to get there?
Yes, depend on the skill of each of us, I guess. Huh?
You would think that the highest, tallest mountain would take the longest time to climb, but it's not the case because
No?
on that mountain you can drive the first 600 meters. So if you are a really good hiker, you can get up there in half an hour, but most people probably an hour.
Okay, perfect. And Veridiana. So Veridiana, yeah, the price is per person, Veridiana, or per two, huh, or three, or four. Uh, Thank you. I don't see any gala. Love the presentation. Are you going to share? Yes, we will. Huh? Rasmus will be sending the webinar recording and the presentation. Laura loved the presentation. Thank you so much. And interesting. Perfect. Thank you. So I see some more on the QA. Alors, Johnny is introducing himself. Hello, Johnny. I don't know, Johnny, do you want me to put you so we can see who you are? Huh? I don't know if you'd like to be on the. Let me know. Voilà. So I don't see any other question. Everything else was done. Huh? Voilà. So, as I said, I don't know if Bernie would like to join us as a panelist to say hello at the end. Voilà, let me see.
I think he's interesting to just see a
Yes, it's
little bit.
interesting by my offer. Yay. And Rasmus, you can switch off if you want the presentation. And you can
Of course, yeah.
remove the share.
Here we go.
Voilà. So now everyone, you're going to see the whole team. You're going to see Barney. Thank you, Tina, to you for attending. I think those are plenty. It's a new destination. Yay! Voilà. We have the second best friends, huh? Co-founder of best friends.
I've been texting on the group chat on the chat to respond
I
to
know.
questions. That's me.
I saw you. But I think it would be nice at the end to say hello, huh? Because you're a team, and
Yeah.
and I think everybody will get the feeling that they can trust you, and you know what you're doing, huh?
Yes, and also for anyone based in New York, I'm living in New York right now. So if anyone wants to get coffee or get to know more about remote, then I'm always available.
All right, huh? But we will see you. As I said, you might join us. We have a roadshow coming up, so I would love for you to join. Alan, you said going to learn more. Hope to get the contact. Yes, you will get everyone's contact. And the Q&A remote is based in Faroe Island. Yes, thank you. Oh, Ellen, you're trying your Faroese. Voilà. Thank you, everybody. And I hope you're going to have plenty of things to tell your clients, suggesting a new destination for actually for now to sell for the season. And thank you again for your time, huh, everyone. And Rasmus, Bernie, thank you. It was amazing even for me, huh, to, I know basic, but wow, I'm sold. Huh? Voilà. Can't wait to visit. And yeah, merci for this new destination, say Hervé. That's really nice. And less travel. I think a lot of places in Europe are a bit packed, especially in summer, and you're offering a new window, to the world. With authenticity and everything we love. Thank you
Tell
again.
your clients it's an updated, undiscovered Iceland. That's
Yes.
what the Faroe Islands is.
Voilà. Voilà.
Yes. One good way to put it, yeah. Yeah, I would just also like to say thank you everyone for your time, and I hope you learned something, and I'm very excited to stay in touch as well. So don't be shy to reach out, and yeah, so thanks a lot, and also for the
On our,
kind
voilà.
words in the comments.
So on our website, you will look at the remote travel. You will have the latest recording. You have Let's Connect. You can connect with them, and you have all the information as well. But definitely, you can talk directly with them. Huh? All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of the day. And if you're celebrating Passover, starting tonight, and then Easter is around the corner. So have a great holiday season. Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye everyone.